When you think of the ultimate blonde bombshell, Marilyn Monroe might come to mind. But long before Norma Jean Bakер ever became a 1950s screen siren, another actor defined the concept of the Hollywood platinum blonde. Her name, Jean Harlow. Marilyn Monroe grew up watching the 1930s star, even modeling herself in the icon's image. Sadly, Marilyn did follow in her favorite actress's footsteps, and not just in terms of fame. The two starlets' untimely and controversial deaths were as similar as their successes in life. Now, 84 years after her death, let's take a look back at the rise and fall of one of the brightest stars of the silver screen. But before we get into it, watch this video to the end, smash the red button to subscribe, and the bell button to get notified of our new videos. For a time in the 1930s, Jean Harlow was the biggest star in Hollywood. Her vampy good looks, easy glamour, and natural sex appeal earned her the name the Blonde Bombshell. But underneath her polished facade was a tender soul, too often abused by studios and racked with heartache, all the way until her devastating end. Early life. Born Harlene Harlow Carpenter on March 3, 1911, in a house located at 3344 Olive Street in Kansas City, Missouri, her father, Montclair Carpenter, son of Abraham L. Carpenter and Diana, was a dentist who attended dental school in Kansas City. He was from a working-class background. Following her divorce from Montclair Carpenter, her mother, Jean Poe Carpenter, took her to Hollywood with a dream of finding success as an actress, but was deemed too old already at 34. Jean and Harlene had a close, clinging relationship, and the mom would ensure her daughter did make it as a Hollywood star in her stead. Harlene was called the Baby, a nickname she was accustomed to that endured for the rest of her life. Blonde Bombshell and Platinum Blonde would be others, of course. It was not until she was 5 years old that she learned her real name was Harlene, when staff and students at Miss Barstow's finishing school for girls used the name. Harlene was always very close with her mother, who was extremely protective and was reported to have instilled a sense in her daughter that she owed everything she had to her. To achieve her dream, Harlene was enrolled in Ferry Hall School, where she was paired with a big sister from the senior class during Harlene's freshman year at school, who introduced her to 19-year-old Charles Chuck Fremont McGrew III, an heir to a large fortune. By the fall of 1926, Harlene and Chuck were dating seriously, and they were married in 1927. Jean Carpenter was also married that same year to Marino Bello on January 18th. However, Harlene did not attend her mother's wedding. In 1828, 2 months after the wedding, Chuck McGrew turned 21 and received part of his inheritance. The couple left Chicago and moved to Los Angeles, settling into a home in Beverly Hills, where Harlene thrived as a wealthy socialite. McGrew hoped to distance Harlene from her mother with the move. Neither Chuck nor Harlene worked during this time, and both were considered heavy drinkers. The making of a movie star. While living in Los Angeles, Harlene befriended a young, aspiring actress named Rosalie Roy. Not owning a car herself, Rosalie asked Harlene to drive her to Fox Studios for an appointment. While waiting for Rosalie, Harlene was noticed and approached by Fox executives. She wasn't all that interested in becoming a star, even giving them a fake name, her mom's. But certainly they were interested in her. Or at least in her look, a glamorous blonde with killer curves. She was given letters of introduction to Central Casting. A few days later, Rosalie Roy bet Harlene that she did not have the nerve to go in for an audition. Unwilling to lose a wager and pressed by her enthusiastic mother, who had followed her daughter to Los Angeles by this time, Harlene went to Central Casting and signed in under her mother's maiden name, Jean Harlow. In December 1928, Harlene, as Jean Harlow, signed a 5-year contract with Hal Roach Studios for $100 per week. She had small roles in the 1929 Laurel and Hardy short Double Whoopee, Liberty, and Bacon Grabbers, with the latter giving her a co-starring credit. Working class to world class. Her big break came when she acted in Howard Hughes's Hell's Angels in 1930, in which she replaced the original lead silent film star Greta Nissen, who spoke with a thick Norwegian accent and therefore couldn't, in the director's mind, make a transition to the talkies. Platinum Blonde Star. Despite her relative success with Hell's Angels, Harlow again found herself in the role of uncredited extra in the Charlie Chaplin film City Lights 1931, though her appearance did not make the final cut. To maintain her public appearance, Columbia Pictures first cast Harlow in a Frank Capra film with Loretta Young, originally titled Gallagher for Young's lead character, but renamed Platinum Blonde to capitalize on Hughes's publicity of Harlow's platinum hair color. Though Harlow denied her hair was bleached, the platinum blonde color was reportedly achieved with a weekly application of ammonia, Clorox bleach, and Lux soap flakes. This process weakened and damaged Harlow's naturally ash blonde hair. Many female fans began dyeing their hair to match hers, and Hughes's team organized a series of platinum blonde clubs across the nation, offering a prize of $10,000 to any beautician who could match Harlow's shade. No one could, and the prize went unclaimed. But the publicity scheme worked, and the Platinum Blonde nickname stuck with Harlow. Mid-career, life in MGM. Paul Byrne then arranged with Hughes to borrow her for MGM's Beast of the City in 1932, co-starring Walter Houston. After filming, Byrne booked a 10-week personal appearance tour on the East Coast. To the surprise of many, especially Harlow herself, she packed every theater in which she appeared, often appearing in a single venue for several nights. Despite critical disparagement and poor roles, Harlow's popularity and following were large and growing, and in February 1932, the tour was extended by 6 weeks. More tragedy than comedy. Jean's personal life was less stable than her work life. In 1932, Jean married MGM executive Paul Byrne. Only 2 months after their wedding, Paul was found dead from a gunshot wound to the head in their home. Jean had been staying with her mother at the time. Despite rumors that he was murdered at the hands of a former lover, it turned out Paul was still common-law married to another woman, and an alleged MGM cover-up, Paul's death has ultimately ruled a suicide. Found in the home was what some believed to have been a suicide note. It read, "Dearest dear, unfortunately, this is the only way to make the good, frightful wrong I have done you and to wipe out my abject humiliation. I love you, Paul." And then postscript. You understand that last night was only a comedy. Jean insisted she didn't know what the note was about. After Paul's death, Jean still struggled to find happiness. She began dating a separated but still married boxer, Max Baer. But when Max's wife filed for divorce on the grounds of adultery and named Jean as co-respondent, the studio, hoping to avoid another scandal, arranged for Jean to marry cinematographer Harold Rawson. Around this same time, Jean became ill and had to have an emergency appendectomy. The union lasted only 8 months. The falling star. However happy she may have been personally with William, Jean continued to drink heavily, which, as Longworth notes, may have obscured other health problems, including headaches that were mistaken for hangovers and a puffy face and swollen belly that Jean likely believed to be alcohol-related weight. Her mother's solution was to put her on a strict diet. Not even 10 years into her career, Jean was looking less and less like her blonde bombshell self. Even her signature platinum locks began to fall out in clumps as the weekly bleachings finally took their toll. On May 20th, 1937, during the filming of Saratoga, Harlow began to complain of illness. Her symptoms, fatigue, nausea, fluid retention, and abdominal pain, did not seem very serious to the studio doctor, who believed she was suffering from cholecystitis and influenza. Unfortunately, the doctor was not aware that Harlow had been ill during the previous year with severe sunburn and influenza. A friend and co-star, Una Merkel, noticed Harlow's onset weight gain, gray pallor, and fatigue. On May 29th, while Harlow filmed a scene in which her character had a fever, she was sicker than her character and leaned against her co-star Grable between takes and said, "I feel terrible. Get me back to my dressing room." She requested that the assistant director telephone William Powell, who immediately left his own movie set to escort her back home. 2 months later, while working on another movie with Clark Gable, her mouth was still infected from the surgery. Stomach pain and vomiting, believed to be the flu, kept Jean at home in bed and was later misdiagnosed and treated as a swollen gallbladder. Final days. Clark was reportedly very concerned after he came to visit and found a terribly bloated, rotten-smelling Jean. Finally, another doctor correctly diagnosed her kidney disease, which was linked to her scarlet fever as a child and had likely been a long time coming. Sadly, at the time, there wasn't much that could be done. The first successful kidney dialysis was not till 1945, and the first successful kidney transplant in 1954. Jean Harlow died 2 days after the diagnosis on June 7, 1937, at the age of 26. The 26-year-old's body was placed in a massive burnished copper casket said to have cost $5,000, the Chicago Daily Tribune reported 80 years ago. That year, Nорма Jеan would have been 11 years old, living in the Los Angeles orphans' home in Hollywood and perhaps only beginning to dream of stardom. In the very last weeks of Marilyn Monroe's life, she was planning to star in a biopic about her childhood idol, Jean Harlow. Sadly, she never got the chance. Now that you've watched the Jean Harlow video, impress your friends with these did you know facts about Jean Harlow. Share the video, smash the like button, and of course the red button to subscribe for more interesting videos.